Hey, hi, hello, it's Pip here from queenpipcards.com. Just a really quick technique video today. I'm going to show you how to make this background technique. This is called polished stone, and it's a really simple technique to do, but it's very effective. You can stamp on it as well, so you get this slightly different background where I've stamped the images on top of the card. You can do it in all kinds of different colours. It just looks great and gives a bit of interest to some background. This was my All About the Boys class that I did, and this is the technique that everybody got to do when they came to class or had my class in a box. So that's what I'm going to show you. You need some very simple supplies. You need your refill inks. So these are Stampin' Up's refill inks. They come as little pots with screw lids, and you just can drop them out of there. It's like a little dropper dropper bottle. So the three colours I have here are Tranquil Tide, Crumb Cake, and this is Dapper Denim. Obviously you can use whichever three you like, but these colours coordinated with the cardstock and paper that I was using. So that's what I made, and you're going to end up with a sheet that looks a bit like this. Okay, so this is your base card that you're going to end up with, that you then chop up and make into your other cards. So to do this the traditional way, or the way that I showed everybody at my class, was we're going to use some cotton wool. So this is just literally plain old cotton wool, and then some of this, I can't pronounce this word, it's isopropyl alcohol. Anyway, basically it is rubbing alcohol. Okay, I got this online in a massive bottle like this, but you can get smaller ones online on Amazon and other retail stores. But you just literally soak your cotton wool, put the lid on, because being as it's alcohol it evaporates really quickly, and then you just take your refill, or re-inkers as I used to call, that's what they used to be called, but they've changed the name. Don't know why they've changed the name. Re-inkers, because they re-ink your pads. I suppose ink refills are probably more, people more maybe understand that a little easier, I don't know. But you're just doing basically a few drops of each colour in however close a pattern you want them to be. Looks a bit like a smiley face. And then I went in with some Crumb Cake, because you want to lighten it up a bit. Those are two quite dark colours, so I added Crumb Cake just to lighten it. And then you literally take your glossy cardstock. So this is our new glossy cardstock. It has to be glossy because it needs to sit on the surface a bit, and you literally just dab, and you go back over, and you can see that it's making pretty patterns. But you can see it sitting on the surface. If you look, it's very wet. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but it is actually sitting on the surface, and it will dry darker where there's more ink, and obviously lighter where there's less ink. And you can go back over, you can make it as blotchy as you like, and that's basically how you get polished stone. And you just keep going, try not to inhale too many of the fumes, and you can see you're getting more merged as you go down, and that's fine, it just gives you a different texture. So I did the whole sheet, but I want to show you a way of doing it if you don't have any of the rubbing alcohol, because I was thinking about it, and basically this is just the baby wipe technique in reverse. So I got a baby wipe, and I bunched that up into like a pad thing, because I think this will work exactly the same. Might take a little bit longer to dry, but it will work exactly the same. And it will take longer because obviously a baby wipe is less evaporating. Is that a word? It doesn't evaporate as fast as the alcohol in the rubbing alcohol. So you can see the rubbing alcohol is getting there already in terms of drying, whereas I think this might take a little longer. But you know, I think this will work. So here we go back in with the baby wipe, and you need to press a little bit more firmly because you have obviously less liquid. Yeah, it's getting there. It's not as blobby as that, if that makes sense. It's lighter, it doesn't have such depth, but absolutely if you don't have any rubbing alcohol at home, this is a way forward. Okay, so you can get the same technique, same background effect, or a similar one. Yeah, you definitely need to squeeze harder to get this ink out, and maybe I didn't put enough ink on in the first place. That could also be because I didn't put quite so much on. So you can go back in, you can re-ink your spots, you can see them better in fact on the baby wipe than you can on the cotton wool bud, because on the cotton wool they go a bit bleh, and they merge a bit more. But for sure you can see. And rubbing alcohol you can get in the pharmacy, or you should be able to, and get in the, here we go. So it's not blending quite so well as with the rubbing alcohol, because that's obviously a benefit of the rubbing alcohol, that it becomes a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of looks a bit more watery, but you are getting a similar, I think I might have now overdone it with my colours, but you're getting a similar technique and a similar effect. So you can do with it, you can do it however you see fit, and you might need to have a second baby wipe on hand, because then you can just go in and maybe lift some of that colour. Yeah, it's definitely getting there. So just go in and play with it, but I think you'll agree that either way, whether you have just a baby wipe, you get a similar effect, or with the rubbing alcohol you get that more watery effect, which is weird considering that that's alcohol and that's actually water, but you know, that's just the way our cardstock works. But I think the more water you add to your baby wipe, so if you spritzed it, for example, you will get mucky fingers, but if you spritzed your baby wipe and made it even wetter, I think that would work just as well. So there you go. That's the two different variations of how you can do polished stone technique. And then literally I just left that to dry. The water side on the baby wipe will take longer to dry, just because you know, alcohol evaporates. It stays wet in here, but it will actually evaporate off quicker than the baby wipes. But once you've done your piece of cardstock and you've let it dry, then literally all I did on this piece, she says, trying not to get ink everywhere, I just stamped the image from Guy Greetings. This is the spanner set from Guy Greetings. I stamped that in Dapper Denim directly onto the glossy paper, and again left it to dry. Doesn't take very long, and it was, you know, then it forms a nice background with some stamped effect on top of the polished stain. And you see mine's a bit more smeary and smurgy. Smurgy, is that a word? Splurgy, I don't know. It's a little bit more mottled. That's because on this one I literally did what I did just then. On this one I actually smoothed it around to see what would happen. So I got my cotton wool, and on a piece of it I actually started doing this just to see what would happen. And you can see it then stains the background, so you don't have that white that's showing through on here, and it sort of pulls the colours together and smudges them. And the most prominent colour, which is obviously blue in this case, it's coming out blue as the most prominent, that's the one that smears into the background. So you can decide, it's up to you which way you would want it to look, whether you want it to look like this or like this, whether you want to leave it plain or whether you want to stamp over. But yeah, then you just literally chop that up and use it for your backgrounds. They'll all be different, they'll all be unique, but that's also one of the benefits of card making, that you can make lots and lots of backgrounds. They all look different, they're all slightly you know, unique to you, and that's what I like. And obviously you can try different colours. So there you go, that's my polished stone background technique. with both reinkers on baby wipe and with the rubbing alcohol, that thing. I can't pronounce that. So thanks for watching, come back soon, and I will see you again. Alrighty, take care for now. Bye bye.